now, right now. Right 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 now, right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the cliff that Bitcoin sits on. As you know, Bitcoin's trading right around $25,800 right now, and that level is very important because it resides just a couple of $100 above the critical level of support at $25,236. I'm here to tell you today that there's a couple of news stories coming out over the next 48 hours that very well may lead to a major drop on the price of Bitcoin. If that happens, then our prediction from last week's video that a $5,000 drop could be right around the corner may end up coming to pass. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto. If you're new here, my name is Jeb McAfee. I've been doing cryptocurrency technical analysis for nearly 6 years. This channel is turning 6 in November, and it is my mission to help you guys achieve something that I call financial sovereignty. Financial sovereignty is the idea where you have complete and total control over your wealth, and you're not in financial bondage, because financial bondage, I have found, is not actually a problem of finance. It's a problem of education and your spirit. I want to help you guys to become financially sovereign so that you have control over your finances and you're able to make a real difference in your life. That is why we are here, and we are doing that through technical analysis on the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency charts. So, really excited, really pleased to have all of you here. Really excited today as well. We've been in the gym over the last week or so in the mornings. Really excited to be pumping some iron again. Thank you so much for the compliments on the shirt. We got some new wardrobe over the weekend. I am just so pumped. I am so excited for where the channel is going and all of the things that we're working on. We got a lot of great stuff going on behind the scenes that is going to help to bring you guys even higher quality content. How about those videos? How are you guys liking the climate of crypto, the up next, the FinSoft financial videos? How are you liking the videos that we're putting out? I think they're some of the best work that we've ever done. I'm really trying to dive into the storytelling element of that, the editing, and make sure that you guys are getting great content that is helping you to understand where this market is, where it's going, and most importantly, how to achieve that financial sovereignty. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Rock and Metal News is in chat, said, good morning. Chris Mo said, beef. Who you got a beef with, Chris Mo? There ain't no beef, man. I have a story. I have a couple of friends that when I was 19, I'm not even sure why I'm telling this story, but I think it was funny. Maybe it'll be a little entertaining for you. I was 19, so this is 3.5 years ago. Feels like an eternity ago, but it actually wasn't that long ago. We went to an IHOP. We were in IHOP at 5 o'clock in the morning. We walked out of the IHOP, and there's these two guys just going at it and the one guy's telling the other guy, it ain't no beef, man. It ain't no beef, because one guy was about to go beat up the other guy because he was trying to steal his girl. Right? So you just gotta, part of financial sovereignty is making sure you're in the right place at the right time. You can see we probably weren't in the right place being at IHOP at 5 o'clock in the morning. So if you're looking for a trade, here's how I'll loop it back into crypto. If you're looking for a trade, you want to be in the right place at the right time, not in the wrong place at the wrong time, because you never know what you might run into. Win Peoples and Crypto Mini Biker in chat. Mike Lowry's in chat. Michael Parsons, Dan Nolan, Anthony Rowland, Tall Blonde Girl, Philly Skills 1428 said, morning, Jeb. How's it going, bud? It is going great. Mike Lowry said, don't forget to hit that like button. Crypto Ricky in chat. Alex Nybo. Queen is in chat. Really excited to see all of you guys here today. CBD Suddy is in chat, who actually supports Gary Gensler. Good question. I'm sure his wife supports him. I hope she does. She might be the only one, but I hope she does. All right, let's go ahead and jump straight on over to coin market cap. Bitcoin right now is trading at 25,777. Looks like we just got a payout in Vegas. We got 25,777 on Bitcoin. We have been down over the last 7 days, and that is largely as a result of the attacks from the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, if you've been sleeping under a rock for the last week, a bit of a recap. For what's going on with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The SEC is one of the most powerful government entities in the entire world when it comes to financial markets. And their chairman, Gary Gensler, has had a vendetta against cryptocurrency ever since 2019 when he got rejected by Changpeng Zhao to be an advisor for Binance. True story. Go fact check me on that. Go right ahead. Now, part of the reason that he's after the cryptocurrency market is because he believes that there's not enough regulation in it and there's not enough consumer protection. To that, I would agree with him. I don't agree with hardly anything else that he's done, but I actually agree with him on that. There does need to be some more regulation, some more clarity, and some more consumer protections. You want to know why? Well, ask any one of your friends that have money in FTX. Ask any one of your friends that have money in Terra Luna. Ask any one of your friends that have money in BlockFi. Ask any one of your friends who have money in BitConnect. Ask any one of your friends who have money in Davercoin. Regulation is not inherently a bad thing. Oftentimes, it is a bad thing because it has poor execution that is authoritarian in nature, but regulation is not actually a bad thing. Oftentimes, the best regulation, all it does is it forces companies to disclose what they're doing so that investors can make an informed decision, and that, in and of itself, is a good thing, and there should be some of that in cryptocurrency where there is not right now, because you'd have less people investing in scam coins that are rug pulls. That's what the investor protection is designed to do. On the other hand, if you put too much regulation on an industry, which is what the government is very good at doing, 99 out of 100 times they're putting too much regulation in an area, not too little. Putting too much regulation on an industry oftentimes will send that industry overseas. We saw that happen with manufacturing. We've seen that happening with solar. We've seen that happening with automotive manufacturing. We've seen that happen in so many different sectors, and cryptocurrency might very well be the next one. Crypto can learn to adapt, but that is the attack that's coming. The SEC launched a lawsuit against Changpeng Zhao, the CEO of Binance, against Binance proper, and also against Coinbase on Monday and Tuesday of last week, respectively. That was the shot heard around the world that began the war between the United States federal government and the cryptocurrency market. The fact of the matter is, cryptocurrency is not too big to fail, but it is definitely too big to completely crush in one felt swoop. Binance has set aside $1 billion for fighting this lawsuit against the SEC, which is a massive amount higher than the $150 million that Ripple has put into its lawsuit against the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple that's been going on for over 3 years. This is going to be a huge battle between the SEC and cryptocurrency, and we're going to have to wait probably a few years to see how things shake out. Keep in mind, though, this is an industry that will be around for decades if it is built on solid principles and actually brings value to the end user. So let's not worry too much about what 2 or 3 years of regulation and regulatory battles that will hopefully pave the road for more regulatory clarity will do to the industry. Instead, let's double down and make sure that we're doing our job of becoming financially sovereign. And just one of the ways that we do that, among others, is by investing in our education and investing in cryptocurrencies themselves. So that's kind of the zeitgeist that we're looking at right now in crypto. Let's go ahead and jump back on over to CoinMarketCap. Ethereum currently is sitting at 1739. It is down 7% in the last 7 days. Binance Coin down substantially. It is down 27% in the last 90 days and down 23% in the last 7 days. It has broken critical support over the weekend. Cardano has done the same. Cardano is down 25% right now. Dogecoin is down 15%. Tron down 13%. Solana down 30%. Polygon down 27%. Litecoin down 16%. Many of these cryptos have not moved that much over the last 24 hours, but that's because they did 48 hours ago. DOT down 15%. Avalanche taking a fall. I'm sorry, I won't do it. Down 24%. Sheeb down 23%. The reason I show you all of these numbers normally don't go down that far down the list is because you need to see that market capitalization is getting hit pretty hard. We got hit with these lawsuits about a week ago, and you can see when those lawsuits started to come in, we were sitting right here. Right around $1.133 trillion. We have shed $80 billion in market capitalization ever since those lawsuits were filed. When I said that this was a shot heard around the world, when I said that this was the beginning of the war for the independence of cryptocurrency, many people thought that I was exaggerating. In fact, somebody even tuned in on the video that we did last week and said, I tuned in on this video just to say that this is overly hype and overly FUD. The video where I put the atom bomb in. You can see this video right here. This is war. The war for crypto just started. This video. Go back and watch this video if you haven't already. Somebody tuned into that video and said, this is overly fear-mongering. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because the war for cryptocurrency, I think that's a good way to put it. This is the beginning of the battle for this industry. And by the way, this industry is also sitting on a knife's edge. Bitcoin's sitting right here at $500 billion market cap, right above a ton of different levels of support that if they break, a major collapse is coming. crash. Maybe collapse isn't the right word. Crash would be more appropriate. Ethereum sitting at 209 billion. If it drops below 200 billion, a major drop is coming as well. So today, let's analyze that cliff that Bitcoin and Ethereum sit right next to and see whether or not they are going to tumble over the edge. If you're enjoying today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the post notification bell so you won't miss a single episode of Coffee and Crypto or Climate of Crypto. Make sure that we can go ahead and let's see if we can't get the likes up over 100. Really appreciate all of you guys in chat. All right, let's do it. Bitcoin right now trading at $25,800 and change, depending on which exchange you are looking at. We're going to start over here on our Bitfinex chart, and we're going to take a look at the levels of support that Bitcoin is right above. As I said, Bitcoin sits just above $500 billion market cap. That level translated to dollars is right about here. You can see that's pretty much the floor that Bitcoin has been sitting atop over the last couple of days, about 25,600 to 25,700. We've come back and tested that level over and over, but we have been moving to the downside, pushing into that level over the last couple of weeks, especially ever since the Securities and Exchange Commission came out against Bitcoin. On top of that, Bitcoin sits just above the 200 daily exponential moving average, which you can see right here in blue. It might be purple. I'm colorblind. Feel free to make fun of me in the comments. I'm not sensitive about it. Bitcoin traditionally comes down to this level many times during a bull market. It is not uncommon for this level to be very important in the beginning of a bull market as well, being used as support. Right now, Bitcoin is coming back to back-tested, and it sits at 25,200. Now, 25,236 is another level that we need to pay attention to because it is the level that we double-topped out on Bitcoin app, with the first top being August 13th, the second top being here right around Valentine's Day of 2023. So we're seeing that there's major convergent support around the 25.5 region. We've got 25.7, that's the $500 billion market cap. $500 billion, that's a big even. I think you could definitely discern why $500 billion is a lot of a very important support level for Bitcoin. Then, of course, we've got 25,236, which has been the beginning of the transitionary zone. We tested it once, broke through. When we broke through it, we went up to 28,545. That's definitely an important level. And then, of course, now we're looking at let's see. We're also looking at the 200 weekly exponential moving average, which is sitting right here at 25,000. You might not be able to see it with all the drawings, but you can see that level sits right here sideways at 25K. This is the 200 weekly exponential moving average, which basically means that Bitcoin's average price over the last 4 years has kind of plateaued and has been sitting at, on average, about $25,000. Bitcoin has come back and backtested this level several times in history, and whenever it does come back and backtest this level, sometimes it'll fall below it briefly before bouncing to the upside. Now, I talked about last week how Bitcoin will often fall to a new level in each new bull market. If we turn our 100, 200, 300, and 400 on, you can see going back on the let's see, the BLX chart. In the 2015 accumulation phase, Bitcoin dropped all the way down to the 200 at WEMA. In the 2019 accumulation phase, we dropped down to the 300. So we went from the 200 to the 300. This time we dropped down to the 400. So this is kind of a trend. Just keep that in mind. Us dropping down to the 200 is not the end of the world. It's not something that we want to say, okay, the bull market is on pause. The point I want to make here today is that all of those levels, the 200 daily EMA, the 200 weekly EMA, $25,236, $500 billion market capitalization, and then also another level, which I can show you right here, this downtrending level of support, and then also this uptrending level of support that you can see right here. All of these levels converge between 25,236 and 25,800. So I think it's safe to bet, and I think it's safe to say that Bitcoin is sitting above some critical support. The question now becomes, will Bitcoin break below that support? I've got some bad news for you. I'll just go ahead and tell you up front. I think that it probably will. And I know you might not want to hear that, but I've got to tell you the honest truth. Tomorrow, we are seeing some news come out, and I don't think it's going to be bullish. That news is the Consumer Price Index release for June of 2023. These come out the second Tuesday of the month. That would be June 13th. Tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. In less than 24 hours, we will see what happened with CPI. Core inflation has been trading sideways at 5.5 for over 4 months now. All items has slowed and stagnated in its drop. We dropped from 5% down to 4.9% last month. That was a 0.1% drop. And when that 0.1% drop occurred, Bitcoin would go through a correction. You can see that drop occurred back on about May the 10th, I believe it was. It wasn't May the 10th. It was May the 3rd, I think was the last time CPI data came out. No, it was May the 10th. I'm sorry. Right here. And you can see the market dropped relatively harshly. We're probably going to see the same thing happen tomorrow. We're probably going to see a sideways report on CPI or a very minor drop on CPI. I'm not so sure it'll go up because we are letting some trailing data on that 12th month fall off in categories like fuel and used trucks and used cars and trucks. So those two categories are going to kind of drop off. So that being said, inflation will likely come down slightly as a result of those. But one of the concerns that we're looking at with inflation is that if you look at the table here, some of the things that are pulling us down most aggressively, like fuel oil and gasoline and energy commodities, those are going to stabilize out. They're not going to be negative 20% next month. They're probably going to be a lot lower than that because I don't know if you've noticed, gasoline's still at $3.50. It never went back down to the $2.50 region that we saw it at, and it's probably going to stay here forever because the oil and gas companies like the amount of profit they're making. Similarly, food is not going to be as easy to bring down as many people would hope because of the way that the global economy is moving right now. If you don't know, there is a dam in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine. Let me pull up a map of Ukraine. Let me just go to Google Maps, actually. There is a dam in Ukraine. You'll see how all this ties back into Bitcoin here in just a second because there are points of connection. I know you might be thinking, Jeb, why are we talking about Ukraine? We're talking about crypto. Hear me out. Give me just a second. If you look on this map in Ukraine, there is a massive body of water on the Dnipro River. This body of water right here is a gigantic lake. It's one of the largest lakes in Europe. This lake, as you can see, has many different cities along its coast, from Nikopol all the way up to Zaporizhia. That is one of the contested cities right now where there is a nuclear power plant that the Russians are holding. If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Russia attacked Ukraine February 24th of last year. There's been an ongoing war ever since. The Dnipro River cuts Ukraine straight down the middle, runs all the way up to Kiev, comes down to Kremenchuk, all the way down to Zaporizhia in the Dnipro, which is the city that's named after the river, all the way down to Kherson, which was liberated last fall. This lake right here is one of the most important lakes in agriculture anywhere on the planet. And this lake is generated by this dam. This is called the Kakhovka Dam. Last week, the Russians put about 2 semi-trucks worth of explosive charges in the turbine room of the dam and blew the thing to smithereens. That entire lake is draining right now. And as you can see, it is one of the largest lakes in Europe. Just kind of scrolling around here, you can see different lakes right here in Liechtenstein in Switzerland, right over here by Geneva, here in Hungary. This is one of the largest lakes, artificial lakes, in all of Europe. The entire body of water is draining right now because the dam that created that lake was blown up by the Russians. They did this for a couple of reasons. Number one, draining this lake means that the lake will become extremely muddy. Everything beyond the lake will be flooded and become extremely muddy, making it difficult for the Ukrainians to attack anywhere beyond Zaporizhia all the way down to Kherson, going down into the Black Sea. That was the strategic reason, but the reason I'm mentioning this today is because right here behind the dam is a series of canals. You can see this canal right here. As you can see, there's a road that runs along it. This is one of the most important canals in all of Ukraine. And as you can see, it splits all over the place. This is called the Crimean Canal. As you can see, I'm just following it down here into Crimea, and it brings water from the Dnipro River, which allows for agricultural production to happen in Crimea, as well as agricultural production to happen here everywhere from Kherson all the way to Melitopol. This is one of the largest bread baskets of Europe. The amount of wheat produced here could feed millions of people, and all of it is irrigated by this canal right here. With the explosion of this dam and the lake draining, this canal is going to run dry, and this entire region, we're talking millions and millions and millions of acres, is going to go fallow all the way into Crimea from Kherson all the way to Melitopol. The reason that, and they can't use this water in the Black Sea because it's obviously brackish water being connected to the Atlantic Ocean. Why do I mention that? Well, we're talking about CPI. CPI is mostly held up by food prices right now. Food prices, as you know from our chart here, are running at 7.7%. If you go back to without the chart and you just look at the all items, Food is the thing that's keeping all items less energy and food up. It is the one that is dragging these numbers up. Energy is going down. So here's the problem. Food is going to get more difficult to produce and maintain the production lines for because we're running into fertilizer issues the world over. And Ukraine, which was already mostly offline, is continuing to go even further offline with the largest landmass of wheat production in all of Europe running fallow because irrigation has disappeared with one explosion. Energy is likely to move up. It's probably not going to be negative 5.1% tomorrow. It's probably going to be more like negative 3. All of that to say that because of what we're seeing going on globally with food, meaning food's likely to get more expensive, and energy is likely to go up, meaning that it's not going to drag these numbers down, there's actually a strong likelihood that we could see CPI in all items and core inflation, all items less food and energy, go up, especially in core inflation, because all items less food and energy obviously is less food and energy, but core inflation could go up. That's the one that everybody's talking about. We saw a 0.1% drop on that last month. We could stay sideways at 4.9. We could go up to 5%. The world is a difficult place to do business right now. It's a difficult place to find the resources that you are dealing with. Think about it like this. We've got $100 trillion of GDP globally. To maintain that GDP, you have to maintain a strong resource generation and manufacturing component of our civilization. Every single facet of that has gotten far less efficient over the last 4 years, ever since the pandemic, and especially ever since the war. Because ever since the war, we've had shortages of iron, of pig iron, of steel, of carbon, of coal, of wheat, of soybean oil, of different types of plant-based oils. We've had shortages of, I'm not sure if I said wheat, but wheat. Obviously, those Ukraine and Russia are two of the largest wheat producers in the entire world, which is the staple crop of human civilization. Just so you know, wheat is the most important crop that humans have ever created. Far more important than rice, far more important than corn. It is the most important staple crop in the history of mankind. Those are the two most powerful wheat producing countries in the world before the war began. All of this to say, when you have the issue with extracting raw resources, and on top of that, you have the issues with lack of efficiency in the manufacturing sector, because the manufacturing sector is moving from a just-in-time model to a just-in-case model, which brings their efficiency down sometimes 5, 10, 15, 20%. That leads to the price of goods going up, and that leads to inflation getting sticky under 5%. Bringing inflation far under 5% is going to be a difficult feat, and it's likely not one that is going to get solved this year. All of that to say, if inflation stays sideways, and you'll see why all of this is related to Bitcoin now, if inflation stays sideways or fails to drop by more than 0.1%, that is likely going to lead to a crash on Bitcoin. Why? Well, please remember, Bitcoin right now sits above a critical level of support. And if Bitcoin is not able to hold that critical level of support, a major collapse is likely. A collapse on Bitcoin would likely send Bitcoin, a crash. I want to use that word, not collapse. It's not the end of the world, but it would be a crash. A crash on Bitcoin is likely to lead Bitcoin down to at least $23,000, if not all the way down to $20,000. And tomorrow, when we see that news come in, that CPI did not drop as much as we would hope, then we are likely to see that be the straw that broke the camel's back. Bitcoin breaks all of this support and starts moving down to $24,500. And once the first domino has fallen, the chain reaction may be inevitable. So you might be wondering, well, Jeb, why did you talk about food? Why did you talk about Ukraine? Why did you talk about a random canal somewhere in Eastern Europe? I think you understand now why. By the way, the wheat production in that part of Ukraine is not going to have a huge impact on the global economy because CPI is a data set that measures the last 12 months of data. Ukraine was having a difficult time growing wheat in an occupied part of its territory anyway. So that in and of itself is not going to have a huge impact this year. But I want to give you an example of the kind of things that are happening around the world that are making food production more difficult and why that food inflation is so darn high. Why are you spending $8.50 on a pack of salami at Publix? That would be why food production the world over has gotten a lot more difficult. Well, wait a minute. Why would ham be more expensive? Because wheat is getting more difficult to produce. What do the pigs eat? They eat corn. They eat different grain products that you have to grow. And so when those staple crops are in trouble, then that leads to disruptions the supply chain over. So hopefully you understand the concern that I have. The concern that I have is that Bitcoin is sitting right here above critical support, but it doesn't seem to me that it's going to have the amount of bullishness that it needs to push through and hold above that support and push to the upside. Now, let's also talk about the next bearish piece of news that's coming. And by the way, I'm not trying to spread FUD. What I am doing is sharing with you real information that is bearish. So I hope you understand. I'm not in any way trying to put fear, uncertainty, or doubt in your mind. What I am trying to do is ensure that you are informed so that you can make informed decisions about your portfolio. And an informed decision right now might be to try and put some on the side so that you can be ready to buy a dip. It might be, hey, I'm a little overexposed to crypto. I want to cash out a little bit. Whatever it is, I want to make sure that you have that information to make that decision. Now, that's not the only bearish news. There is a high possibility that the effective federal funds rate will hike once again coming on Wednesday. The EFFR hike is just 2 days away. You can see here on the CME Group's Fed Watch tool, it is 2 days, 3 hours, 34 minutes, and 27 seconds away. That event is very likely to be is at this point seemingly likely to be a pause. The chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, who used to be the least popular person in crypto, now it's Gary Gensler, he teased that there very well may be a Fed rate pause at this meeting, which is happening, of course, on June 14th, Wednesday. The question of whether or not that will occur, I think, has quite a lot to do with CPI. I'm not sure that they've actually made their decision yet, because sometimes with news like this, they've made their decision 2 weeks in advance. They're just waiting for the day to actually release it. I think behind the scenes at the Fed is probably sitting around waiting to see what that CPI data is, and they're probably in communication with the Bureau of Labor Statistics behind the scenes to figure out what that data is looking like to see what inflation is doing. The reason I say that, the Fed's mandate is to maintain the strength of the dollar, right? And so if the Fed is not seeing inflation come down in the way that they want, they're going to use the tools available at their disposal to correct it. They have interest rates. They have quantitative easing. They have, those are the two biggest tools that they have. The Federal Reserve does not have the power to do a lick about the war in Ukraine. They don't have any power to do anything about the uncertainty that the market has against China and the rebasing of manufacturing, which is costing trillions of dollars. They don't have anything to do with any of that. The tools that they have at their disposal to fulfill their mandate are interest rates and quantitative easing. Those are basically their two tools. And so if the Fed is not seeing the inflation rate come down at the rate that they would like, or if it's not coming down at all, there's a high likelihood in my book that they will raise rates again. CME Group is betting with a 21.8% likelihood that they will not, and CME Group knows a lot more than I do. Chicago Mercantile Exchange is worth billions, in fact, probably trillions of dollars in market capitalization on everything that's listed on their exchanges. So they know more than me, but I do find it, I would bet that there's more like a 50-50 shot at this point, not a 80-20 shot, that the Fed actually hikes rates one more time. So this is what I've been warning you guys about for a month, and now it's here. If we see a CPI data release that is negative, that being positive in the number but negative in the news and in the sentiment, then we will see a drop on Bitcoin, and that drop will probably break us below that resistance. We'll probably drop just slightly below it, maybe into the 24s, and then Bitcoin might be trying to hit its head to break back through what used to be support, which is now resistance at 25,236. If then, about 28 hours later, we see the effective federal funds rate come out, and that rate is a rate hike and not a rate pause, that would be the death nail that would send Bitcoin down to the 20,000s, down into the lower 20,000s. So here's the kind of TLDR of what I'm saying. Bitcoin is under fire right now. This is the beginning salvo of the war against crypto. And the SEC launched it. It's the war between the SEC and crypto right now. We've got $1 trillion industry against a very, very powerful regulatory governing body, and we're just going to have to see how this plays out. Typically, whenever a military launches an offensive against an enemy, especially if it's a surprise attack, if it's an opening move of a war, think Germany moving on Poland or the Rhineland, or think about Japan on Pearl Harbor. Think about the War of 1812 on the United States of America. Think about the Second Revolution, about the Revolutionary War in the United States. Think about the Revolutionary War in France. Think about any of these wars. Typically, the party that begins the war makes a lot of progress. Boom, day one, and they've got to capitalize on that as much as they can. Russia, Ukraine, same deal. They launched an offensive, and we're on the outskirts of Kiev within just days. That's where we are right now. This is the beginning of a, not military offensive, but a regulatory offensive. And the Securities and Exchange Commission has made a very big point to make these first opening days very, very hard for crypto. This last week has been very difficult for cryptocurrency. Many people have left the industry as a result of this, and the question of whether or not they come back kind of has to be answered by whether or not the Binance and Coinbase are going to be able to hold back against the SEC. And if not, then crypto in America ends up becoming difficult because there is going to be so much regulatory pressure against it. It might take 5 to 10 years for the market to shake out and figure out how to operate in the new regulatory environment that the SEC is demanding. The opening salvo in this war has been pretty effective for the SEC. It's dropped the market capitalization by $80 billion. Many of the different cryptocurrencies that they listed as crypto security assets are down by 20 to 25%. If we see 1 week after that, a CPI, a bearish CPI news and bearish effective federal funds rate news, that's not going to be great. That's not going to be very good for Bitcoin at all. Bitcoin has done a very good job of holding on, but part of the reason for that is because Bitcoin was not listed in those complaints against Binance and against Coinbase. Bitcoin is not considered a security even by Gary Gensler himself. So Bitcoin's faring pretty well. But keep in mind that Bitcoin is the one that's faring pretty well. The rest of the cryptocurrency market is suffering. If Bitcoin does drop 15% down to $20,000, that would likely lead to another 20 to 25% drop on altcoins. And within the month, we could see half of the valuation of some of your favorite altcoins be eliminated because they're already down by 25% right now. It'd just be a doubling of what it's already done. So my caution to you is that if you are looking to get into a position on Bitcoin right now and buy, you might want to wait and see where this storm goes. There's a hurricane potentially coming for Bitcoin. It could veer off and hit somebody else, could veer off into the Atlantic, but right now there's a hurricane coming in crypto, and I want you to be prepared for it. That hurricane is predicting that Bitcoin could drop quite a lot, and as a prudent financial as a prudent investor, you need to be aware that there are storm clouds over Bitcoin right now, and we are going to need to see how Bitcoin is able to fare through them. How do you apply this? Well, if you're an investor and if you're confident that Binance and Coinbase will be able to eke out, for the most part, a victory, even if it's a fair victory against the SEC, then it may be a time that you want to consider buying if Bitcoin does drop down to $20,000 to $22,000. If you're a little bit more skeptical and you're saying, I want to see how this plays out. Is crypto going to be able to reach its full potential in the United States, considering the regulatory environment that it is faced with right now? Then you might say, okay, I want to cash out a little bit, and I want to be a little bit more conservative. Maybe if you've got 5% of your net worth in crypto, you want to cash out some. You want to say, okay, I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to see where this goes. Whatever your position is, I want you guys to be informed, and I also want you guys to understand that cryptocurrency is not the only component of your portfolio that you need to be paying attention to. To achieve financial sovereignty, you've got to make sure that you are being disciplined. You've got to make sure that you're self-controlled. You've got to make sure that you're budgeting well. You've got to make sure that you've got a high enough income and low enough expenses so that you're in profit every month and you have a positive cash flow. You've got to make sure that you're not just invested in the cryptocurrency market, but that you're diversified so that you're able to ride out storms like this, because sometimes the tech sector is going through a storm like crypto is going through. Sometimes crypto is going through a storm. Sometimes real estate's going through a storm. Sometimes bonds are going through. Whatever it is, if you have a diversified portfolio, you're always going to have something that's not performing very well, but you're also always going to have something that is performing well. And on that note, I will tell you something that is performing well. The stock market has done relatively well. The SPY broke through 418 over the last week or so, rallied all the way up to 430, which means that we are currently looking at a concrete break above this hugely important resistance level at 418. Right now, we're testing 430. That's the level we rejected off of August 16th of 2022. If we're able to break through this, that will mean year-over-year gains, and the stock market will be in good shape. That will largely be a good thing for Bitcoin because Bitcoin and the stocks are correlated. But you can see Bitcoin has not been able to capitalize on that correlation over the last couple of weeks as a result of all of this bearish news moving into the cryptocurrency space. All right, we got about 10 minutes left here. Let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. Like I said, the point of this stream, the point of this channel, the point of what I do every single day for a living here for you is I teach you guys how to be financially sovereign. And so I'm really excited to bring you more content on that because I want you guys to be able to have this lifestyle where you are able to maintain your lifestyle with the money that you are bringing in. I want to help you get your expenses under control. I want to help you get your debt under control. I want to help you guys to be diversified. I want to help you guys to have education in the cryptocurrency space. I ran a poll last week, and the poll said this. The poll said, are you in cryptocurrency to make a massive, radical change in your finances? And I predicted that over 80% of people would say yes. The poll ended up being 95% of people, about 100 people answered the poll, said, Yes, I am in cryptocurrency primarily, as in this is the number one reason I'm in cryptocurrency, to make a major difference in my finances. I'm here to tell you a truth that you may not have heard much of. Financial bondage is not a financial problem. It is an education and it is a spiritual problem. Let me say that again. Financial bondage is not a financial problem. If you are flat broke, it is not because you don't have enough money. If you are flat broke, it is not because you have too much debt. If you are flat, those things may all be true, but that's not the reason. If you are flat broke, or if you don't have enough money to do whatever it is that you've been called to do in your life, it is an education and it is a spiritual problem. And I'll tell you why. If you knew how, and if you had the discipline to do what you knew how to do, you would not be in that position, barring events like a hurricane hits your house and the day before the hurricane hits your house, your insurance company went bankrupt or something, or the government came and decided, we're gonna eminent domain your house and we're gonna give you 10 cents on the dollar for however much money you had in your property. I'm not talking about black swan events. I'm not talking about some of the things that drive people to homelessness, like a nasty divorce or something like that. I'm talking about the 95% of cases where you're broke, and we got to be honest, it's our fault, right? I've been broke. You've been broke. We've all been broke at some point. And for the most part, it's our own fault, right? Because it's a lack of education. And more importantly, oftentimes, it's a lack of a spiritual understanding of how to maintain finances. It is my dream to help you guys build financial sovereignty. So a couple of points about that I want to bring to you guys today. Number one, clean your house. You might think, well, Jeb, what in the world are you talking about? You want to help me become financially sovereign? You want to help me build my cryptocurrency portfolio? You want to help me build my net worth? You want to help me generate this thing called financial sovereignty where I have control over my finances? They're not controlling me. Why are you telling me to clean my kitchen? Well, I'll tell you why. To become financially sovereign, it takes a spirit that is aligned in the right way. And one of the things that's very important spiritually for you to have is discipline and consistency and work ethic. And I'll tell you, one of the greatest things that I ever did is I started deciding by the end of the day, I am going to make sure that my kitchen is clean. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to take it on myself. It's my responsibility. I'm married. There's obviously, my wife could do it, but I'm going to take the responsibility, and this is going to be on me. And every night, the kitchen is going to be clean without missing a day. I'm talking 365 days a year, unless I am bedridden, because I'm like broke a leg or something, I'm going to clean the kitchen, right? Or I'm going to clean the car. Whatever it is, I'm going to make my bed. Whatever it is, think about a habit in your life that you can do 365 days a year, and you would notice if you missed. It would be a little annoying if you missed. Maybe it's a little annoying I didn't get to get into made bed. It's a little bit annoying that my car's a mess. It's a little bit annoying that I didn't get to work on time. It's a little bit annoying I didn't go to the gym today. It's a little bit annoying that I didn't spend time with the Lord. It's a little bit annoying that I didn't do the dishes. Now there's a big pile of dishes. Whatever it is, think about some habits that you can do every single day and commit to them, and don't miss a day for a year. You will build the kind of work ethic, discipline, and consistency that it takes to become financially sovereign. If you want to become financially sovereign, you've got to get this guy right. You've got to get this gal right. You've got to get what's in here right. And I want you to know that everything that I teach you in cryptocurrency, if you do not have those foundations, consistency, work ethic, the education that you need, you're not going to succeed. You can be the best technical analyst in the entire world, but if you're not consistent in your trading, if you're not consistent in your investment, if you're not consistent in continuing your education, you are going to struggle to succeed. So one of the principles of financial sovereignty that I want to bring you today is clean your house. You might think that's crazy, but I am telling you the power of it. It is so important to put your life in order, because financial sovereignty is a subset of what we call sovereignty, and that is having control over your life rather than your life controlling you. God put you on this planet for a purpose. Whether you believe in God or not, I'm here to tell you today, you were put here for a purpose. There's a reason that you were put on planet Earth. And I guarantee you it was not to worry about money. I promise you it was not to worry about money. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people who are called to be broke. Jesus was homeless, right? Most people, that's not the case. But some people, maybe. For the most part, you're probably not called into being poor. There are some people that are called into it, not very often. But I guarantee you, you are not called to worry about money. If you're worried about money, then I can help you with that. The Lord can help you with that. Here's what I want to tell you. You've got to get this guy right. You've got to get the consistency right. You've got to get the discipline right. You've got to be able to make a commitment and stick to it for a decade. Can you do that? Can I do that? If I think myself, honestly, I'm like, what have I done every single day for the last 10 years and not missed a day on? Breathe? Sleep? Like, those things aren't discipline. That just happens, right? You can't help eat, drink water. Those aren't disciplines. You see what I mean? To build discipline, do something every single day for a year and see where you get you. For example, here on the channel, the way that I reached the first steps toward financial sovereignty was I sat down November 16, 2017. I said, you know what? I want to make a YouTube channel in cryptocurrency. We uploaded our first video. I talked about why Bitcoin was in danger, right? You can go back and watch that video. The prediction I made in the first video ended up being true, by the way. And after a couple of months, I would make a video once, twice, 3 times a week. I was kind of inconsistent. I decided, you know what? I'm broke. Like, I didn't grow up with much, and I wanted that to change. What I realize now is that I grew up in financial bondage and I wanted financial sovereignty. I now have words for what I was feeling. I grew up in financial bondage. I wanted financial sovereignty. And I realized the way that I could get out of it is if I made a YouTube video every single day. Every single day. And so for 3.5 years, other than a couple of times where I was extremely sick and I could not speak, or one time when the YouTube channel got taken down by YouTube for a week, I made a video every single day. I'm talking 7 days a week for 3.5 years. And through doing that, the channel reached over 70 or 80,000 subscribers. And by the time I stopped doing that, we had a team of 8 people. And we'd already made nearly $1 million. Actually, excuse me, we'd already made over $1 million in revenue. One of those, we had made $130,000 one of those months. And all of that happened as a result of that consistency. I made a video every single day without fail unless there was a physical limitation. Every single day. There were times I would go 6 months without missing one day. And again, the only reason I would miss a day is because if I was sick, or if I think I did take a vacation one time in that time, or the one time that the channel got taken down for a week, and I literally couldn't. I had no choice. I was physically unable to. And that became a part of me. Like, if I didn't make a video on one of those days, I felt so empty. I felt so lost because it became a part of who I am. It became a part of who I am. And so I'm here to tell you today, if you want to become financially sovereign, you need to make discipline, consistency, and work ethic a part of who you are. And the best way to do that is to do it every single day. We go to the gym 5 days a week now. I am now kind of identifying myself with somebody who goes to the gym, who works out, and that's a good feeling because it brings confidence, it brings strength, it brings motivation, it brings a body that feels well, kind of becomes a part of who you are, right? If you're disciplined every single day in the little things, I'm talking brush your teeth 7 times a week, 2 times a day, right? Maybe you want to take a shower every day. Whatever. Clean your kitchen every single day. Your kitchen's kind of the nexus of your house. Everything kind of revolves around the kitchen. Make sure the kitchen's clean at the end of the night. The rest of the house will somehow magically just become clean. You give it enough time, because you're building that discipline. Make your bed. Clean your room. Clean your car. Mow your grass once a week. Whatever it is. Find things in your life that you can do 7 days a week without fail, and don't miss a day for a year. And watch the difference that occurs in the rest of your life. Put your spirit in order and your financial sovereignty will come. You're thinking, Jeb, you might be thinking. I know a lot of you understand what I'm saying, but some of you might be thinking, well, Jeb, what does this have to do with crypto? This has everything to do with financial sovereignty. Cryptocurrency is just so you know, financial sovereignty is the nexus here. Clean your house, that's a nexus of you got a bicycle. You got your hub right here. Cleaning your house, which builds discipline, is a spoke. Cryptocurrency is a spoke. The stock market is a spoke. Real estate is a spoke. What DEX do you want to use is a spoke. All of these things are tools that you use to build financial sovereignty. Yes, cryptocurrency is one of them, but ultimately, if I run a poll, let me just do it again. I'll show you again. Are you in crypto primarily to make a massive change in your finances? Primarily, number one. That's the number one reason you're in crypto, not the number two reason. Vote no on that if you're here first for the tech, second for the money. Vote yes on that if you're here first for the tech. First for the change it can bring to your money, your financial life, and second for anything else. And every time I run this poll, you're going to see 94% of 17 votes says yes. We're going to have more votes come in. We got 400 people watching. 95% of 19 votes says yes. You guys are here primarily to make a massive change in your finances. If you just learn crypto, that's not enough. If you become an expert at cryptocurrency, that will not be enough to make a massive change in your finances. You've got to get this guy right. And you've got to learn how to do the basics, like budgeting. You've got to learn how to have discipline. You've got to learn how to be committed. You've got to learn how to have work ethic. You've got to learn how to keep your word. You've got to learn how to be integral. You've got to learn how to do networking. You've got to learn how to invest. You've got to learn what an index fund is. You've got to learn what a U.S. Treasury is. You've got to learn what a cryptocurrency is. All of these things are integral components to financial sovereignty, which is what I want you guys to have. In fact, that's the mission statement of our company here. Our vision statement. I want to help people. I want to help teach people how to live financially sovereign. If I can do that ad infinitum, then I will have fulfillment in my life, because one of the things of financial sovereignty, one of the cornerstones of it, is find the purpose that you've been given, because the point of financial sovereignty is to help you achieve that purpose. Think about it like this. You got a bicycle. The bicycle itself is the purpose in your life, and you're trying to take that bicycle and go somewhere. The hub of the front wheel is financial sovereignty. The spokes are all the different things that are helping that hub to stay in place. That's your cryptocurrency. That's your stock market investment. That's your real estate investment. That's your discipline. That's your consistency. That's your timeliness. That's your integrity. Whatever it is, you've got to have all those things in place. It's not enough just to know how to do technical analysis in crypto. So that's why that's not the only thing we talk about here. It's not my dream to make you a cryptocurrency expert. That's great, and I want you to be that. It is my vision for you to be financially sovereign and to break the chains of financial bondage. When I started this YouTube channel, the reason I started this YouTube channel was because I wanted to break the financial bondage in my life and the financial bondage in the life of the people that I knew I'd be able to speak to on the channel. And I wanted to achieve financial sovereignty for myself and share that with others. And believe me, guys, I know that just making a lot of money and giving it away does not give people financial sovereignty, because if they don't have this guy right, you can give somebody $500 million because they won the Powerball, and 2 years later they'll be bankrupt. You can have somebody who's got great legs, they're 6'7", and they can go to the NBA and they'll make $250 million, and then they'll be bankrupt in 3 years because they didn't know how to hold it. You are giving a blessing. You are given a blessing, and you're holding your hands like this. It falls straight through because you don't have the character to hold that blessing and then to lift it and grow it. That's what I want to help you achieve. It's financial sovereignty. If you enjoyed today's stream, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to read a little bit of chat, and then we're going to wrap it out. We got a $20 donation from Lolo. Thank you so very much, Lolo. Really appreciate you guys for that donation. Thank you so much. Cleaning is important to focus. Yes, I think maintaining a clean and orderly home is great. You know, my wife and I are not minimalists, but we very often have like a laundry basket that's about this big, full of clothes and old toys and stuff that's going to Goodwill. About every 2, 3, 4 weeks, we take like this big of a thing to Goodwill. People walk in our house and they're like, man, your house is so clean. I'm like, yeah, it looks like this all the time. We don't have to clean up for a guest coming because we have the discipline to maintain it that way. There's not stuff everywhere. By the way, here's something that's holding you back from financial sovereignty. How many things do you have to mulch, mow, maintain, clean, repair, pay for, pay off? How many things do you have an adjective attached to like that? How many or a verb, I guess it'd be a verb, right? How many things do you have to mow? How many things do you have to organize? How many things do you have to clean? How many of those things are stealing your time from the thing that you're put on this earth to do that is going to bring you fulfillment? How many of them? I'm not a minimalist. I like to have decorations on the wall. I don't mind having a throw pillow here or a blanket there, but being organized is a lot easier when you get rid of junk. Kaizen is the elimination of waste. What is waste in your life? What is the wasted time? What are the wasted items that don't need to be in your home? What are the wasted items that don't need to be in your workspace? What are the wasted, what other waste is in your life that you can eliminate? It'll help you get towards financial sovereignty. Rick4962 donated $50, said, our Heavenly Father is the only way. Absolutely, and amen. One of the things I want to remind you guys of is everything that I'm teaching you guys about finance is just in the Bible. Like I didn't invent any of this stuff. Just the messenger. Feel free to go and read the book of Proverbs. Even if you're not a Christian, something my dad used to say to me all the time is, Jeb, even if you're not a Christian, because I was an agnostic for a long time. I was a huge skeptic. He said, just read the Bible. It's still a great way to live. It's still the greatest wisdom book that you'll ever read in your entire life. There's nothing better. Go read the book of Proverbs and you will be a lot better at finance if you implement it. All right. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single upload. And by the way, Lux Algo is still down below. Use coupon code JEB30, JEBB30 for 30% off at checkout. It is going to help you immensely in your trading. It's one of those other spokes. It'll help you in cryptocurrency, and I really believe that it can bring you a lot of value. So make sure to sign up using the coupon code JEB30, JEBB30. Get the annual plan, and you will save $472 in the first year by using the annual plan and the coupon code on top of each other. So make sure to excuse me. So make sure to sign up for Lux Algo today with the link down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join the financial sovereignty movement by using the hashtag FinSov. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.